Hey everybody! So in this video we are going to be talking about why, according to our research, DID and OSDD seem to be so often misdiagnosed. Now, the first reason is because, unfortunately, due to the stigma that there is against mental health in general, a lot of people are afraid to report symptoms such as memory loss or hearing voices, which in all reality are the voices of their system mates. A lot of times people don't understand that there's a difference between hearing internal voices, as you do with DID and OSDD, and hearing external voices. People think hearing voices and automatically think there's something very wrong with them, and they're afraid of being hospitalized or not taken seriously or labeled as insane. And so, unfortunately, symptoms are sometimes not reported or underreported. And of course, sometimes the person who's attending therapy sessions isn't aware of anything. They aren't aware of time loss, they aren't aware of any sort of internal chatter, or if they don't have any amnesia, they're not aware of the shifts from one member of a system to another, or the internal influences of system members who aren't able to actually switch out. But unfortunately, the biggest reason that we've seemed to find is because a lot of professionals are woefully undereducated on dissociative disorders. From all of the information we've been able to find, dissociative disorders are barely covered in most psychological classwork, at least in America. We can't speak to other countries. But unfortunately, this underpreparedness also leads to skepticism. Because a lot of professionals are not trained in what dissociative disorders are and how they work, some fall into believing that they don't exist at all. And this is largely due to the fact that from all of the information we've been able to gather, what is covered is only maybe a few paragraphs once. And that's not really enough information for professionals to really understand what dissociative disorders are. And the other problem is that when people choose to specialize in dissociative disorders, they're often looked down upon by some in the mental health community and by other mental health professionals because they're specializing in what is seen as a controversial disorder or controversial set of disorders. And unfortunately, this arguing back and forth about whether or not dissociative disorders exist or don't exist, even though they've been clearly documented in the DSM for quite some time at this point, means that a lot of people aren't willing to seek out knowledge about dissociative disorders. A lot of professionals are not interested in looking into that simply because of the stigma associated with studying them. And so not only are we fighting against a stigma against mental health, but we're fighting against a stigma against professionals who choose to educate themselves on dissociative disorders. So this leads to people being misdiagnosed, often with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder. There are many misdiagnoses that can happen, but those seem to be some of the most common. But at the end of the day, the problem is that these misdiagnoses happen because people are not properly educated during their psychological classwork on what dissociative disorders are. And then people are afraid to seek out that information for fear of getting in the middle of a heated debate because they're considered controversial. So it's unfortunately a double-edged sword. And this is why we find that it is so important to educate about dissociative disorders, because we want people to understand that it's not controversial because people aren't sure that it exists. It's controversial because a lot of people just don't know what it is. They don't understand it, or they aren't taught. And this lack of knowledge often means that they're going to listen to whomever tells them the first thing they ever hear about it. Unfortunately, that's somewhat human nature. We tend to believe the first thing we hear. And not everybody chooses to fact check, even when they should. And so if what the first thing a psychology student hears is that dissociative disorders are controversial or don't exist, or any other negative connotation towards them, they're not likely to take them seriously as a professional. Overall, the problem is that not only is there a stigma in the outer world from your average layperson against dissociative disorders, but it also exists heavily within the mental health profession. And this means that misdiagnoses are going to probably continue to happen until education is further spread, which is why we feel that it is so important. So anybody out there who wants to share our videos or the videos of others who choose to make them, who want to share information from reputable sources about DID and OSDD, please do. Share the education. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Have a good day, everybody.